Let's go back.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I'm your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. And hopefully I'm not echoing. Am I echoing? Someone let me know. I don't know what happened with the music, guys. Nothing's changed on my side. No updates in Streamlabs, nothing. Sound sucks. So no echo? Is that a yes to echo or no to echo? Someone... There's a little sound feedback. Shit. Okay, so no echo, but the sound is off. What? Alright. No echo. Good. So some people say it's echoing, some people say it's not echoing. Mild distortion, but no echo. Sounds odd. Donnie Baxter over on Facebook says I'm peaking. What's up with that? My sound levels, no echo, just static. What? Nothing's changed. Weird. Very weird. Okay, well, you know what? Let's crank it down a little bit. All right, so we crank down the the gain. Is that any better? Somebody tell me it's better. Hopefully, because this sucks. Sounds distorted. Better. Captain Weirdbeard, way better. GizmoCon Gunpla, way better. Kurt Hill, better. Scuffle, better. Sounds better. Gamer Bud. All right, I think we got this fixed. Donnie, what about on Facebook? Sorvon, Gary Gunpla over there. Don't hear any more peaking or distortions. All right, I think we got it fixed. Cool. Donnie Baxter says we've fixed it on Facebook. The boys on Twitch say it's fixed. Everybody's on YouTube. Jeremy Chassange on Facebook says it's better too. Cool. Sorry about that, you guys. I don't know what happened. Not like literally nothing's changed. Although it's better, but not quite right. Seems like it's picking up sound from somewhere else. Hear the computer fan. Huh? Shouldn't be able to hear it. Glitch in the Matrix. Yeah, Donnie, over there on Facebook. No. And Scuffle, that's a good call. No, we didn't move the fan, or I didn't move the mic at all. In fact, the mic is right there in the camera where it always is. Being wiretapped. Ultraman Dino over there on YouTube. Nice. I hope not. Shit. That would be bad, right? Let's double check and make sure. Make sure we don't have any. Let's get rid of this. Sorry. Alright, so any better? Anything now? Because I was playing around with another scene for other things, for potential stuff, right? So that could have messed things up. Kurt Hill, yeah, a lot better. Interesting. Slightly staticky. It sounds normal, bro. Jeremy Chassange over there on Facebook. Okay. But it seems like the guys on YouTube are still hearing some weirdness. Hasaki Art says better. Okay, cool. Well, let's go with that then. All right. Fan went away for a bit. What's going on? I don't like this. I do not. Nothing there. I'll have to go back and watch the video. And once we finish up. Shit. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, what happened was I was playing with, for those of you who are familiar, hear weirdness when you're louder, but softer sounds seems fine. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's crank down the gain just a little bit more. Let's crank it down by another 2 dB. There. Alright, so we cranked it down 2 more dB. So, I mean, I'm peaking at yellow at this point on my bars. So, anyway, what I was doing was playing with NDI, which is a transfer, basically a streaming transfer protocol for wireless video. All right. So basically, what that allows to do is bring a Skype feed directly into OBS. So there's a potential there of having people on the live stream, right? Or to call in with a question or whatever. So, you know, just thinking about new and other things, you know. And then also too, Scuffle, if you sing Let It Go, we'll be able to see if there are any audio issues. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. But, so, playing around with that idea, and then also what NDI has the ability to do is you can set up a, there's a paid app that NDI, with their parent company, NewTek, sells, that you can put on your phone, and basically stream the feed from your phone directly into OBS. But the cool thing is that you don't need wires, right? So that could be cool for walking around the room, you know, going to different places in the studio, right? So, you know, just thinking about new and different things on how to sweeten the pot, if you will. Yeah, should be fun. Hasaki Art over there on YouTube says you can't do that with Hangout. Yes, you can, but the way that Google Hangouts on air happens is that you know, you can't really, well, I shouldn't say that, you can't easily use you know, a streaming application like Streamlabs OBS, and then obviously you can't, you know, multicast from there as well. So it's one of those things. And then honestly, the elegance of bringing a Skype conversation into OBS is actually really, really easy. Justinius Builds, for those of you playing at home, we were kind of testing it out earlier today. So that might have been why the audio was jacked, you know, today. So I don't know. I just killed the test scene in OBS that we were using before, and that seemed to do the trick. So that's a bit worrisome. You know, I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see. So yeah. Now there's a few of you saying Google Hangouts is on its deathbed. Yes, it technically is the regular Hangouts, but this is the big question mark. There's Google Hangouts, which is basically for, you know, consumer use and stuff like that, and people have used it as almost like a makeshift carrier for phones and things like that. And then there's Google Hangouts on Air, which is very, very similar, but it's a completely differently branded product in terms of Google and YouTube. So I don't know if they're killing Google Hangouts on Air too. But basically what they're doing is they're repositioning Google Hangouts to their professional suite, their G Suite, if you will, to try and compete with Slack in workplace collaboration and automation, something like that. So that's what they're doing with regular Google Hangouts. Now I know this is going like for most people, but a few people were talking about it over on YouTube. So yeah. Sorvon over there on Twitch, he says, LOL, that may have been why Justin's stuff was jacked when he streamed earlier. Really? His stuff was wacky? Interesting. Now I'm starting to second guess this whole NDI thing. That's not fun. It's not fun at all. I don't like that idea. I don't like that at all. He had all kinds of connection problems. Ah, well, that's a little bit different. Because I know that when we were testing earlier today, his connection was poo-poo. Yeah, I think those are hopefully two separate issues. Yeah, everybody on YouTube is saying dropping frames and everything like that. So what are you gonna do? So anyway, Boo Boo had connection issues. So yeah, there we go. All right, guys, I am sorry for the technical issues. 12 minutes into the damn stream, we're still addressing those. But anyway, that's what we've been trying to work with today, right? So, but as many of you have noticed, white dingoes today. I don't know if there were any proper guesses in the pre-show or not over there on YouTube, because I think everybody was talking about the double audio doing the remix thing. So I was gonna say, like, my turntables, somebody came and bumped my turntables off to the side here. I was remixing it. Sorry. Anyway, yeah. Scuffle. Yes, thank you. 12 minutes and 0 styrene laid. God damn it. Yes. Get to work. No. We got a few things to talk about first. So, first and foremost, business out of the way. If you want one of these cool-ass white dingo shirts, go get you one. www.childofmecha.com. Hit the store button at the top. You'll be transported to the store. Shirts, hats, bags, all that other good stuff. So, Gizmocon Gunpla says there was a few, but no white dingo. Gary Gunpla, Tim is now a DJ. DJ Child of Mecha. Wicka, wicka, wicka. Remix. Anyway. Y'all didn't know I DJ'd back in the day. I didn't. So, other things. Let's see. GBWC, blah, blah, blah. God, it's all off tonight. I don't know. Even my speech is off tonight. GBWC 2019. Partnering with these awesome guys right down here. USA Gundam Store. Go get you some of that. If you need kits, paints, other amazing accessories and things, go get you some. They're running a 15% off sale right now. 20% off selected perfect grades from what I saw in the email. So go check it out. It ends on Sunday, you guys. It ends on Sunday, so go look at that. What else? The tools and stuff like that we're going to be using tonight, you can find on the Amazon link just below on YouTube and Twitch on this side if you're watching on Facebook. And you guys, we're going to be using that tonight. Good old metal protractor. I know it's a fan favorite. So we're going to be using that tonight. In unison to shape up the shoulder shields, but we'll do that. We'll do that later. Now, a bit of business from Wednesday. I promised you guys to show you some prototype hats that I got in, and well, I got them right here. So, first and foremost, for those of you that that remember the movie, wonderful movie Boomerang with Eddie Murphy, you'll remember the scene where you got to coordinate. Yes. Oh, wrong side, right there. White dingoes. Got to coordinate, right? So that's one of the new hats coming. White dingoes. Looking good, all in that sweet navy. And look, if you pick up the hat, the shirt and the hat, you just, I mean, it makes sense, right? Hey, Logan C over there on YouTube, thank you for that, brother. Appreciate that. He says, got the Wada Neo off the Amazon link. That's awesome, dude. Thank you. So that's the first one. And of course, you know, little Child of Mecha logo on the side, but yeah, white dingoes, looking really, really good. Second new one I got, woohoo, the Bell. Run for the Border. Not that one. Londo Bell. The classic Londo Bell, I might add, which is 10 times better than the ugly new one. Red, white, yellow on black. Yes, that's awesome. You can go and slap people and just say, hey, get in a damn Gundam. Right? And then, for those of you Titans fans, look at how crispy that is, right? That's nice. That's a nice look. I like that a lot. Yeah. So, classic Titans, mind you. Classic Titans. I tried to get the Titans test team logo done, but number one, it was too complex of a design for them to be able to digitize properly at the size requirements needed, and it also went over the number of colors that were allotted. The company that I work with, you get 5 colors. I needed 6. Fuckers. But anyway, 2 more. Now, for those of you wanting something a bit less, maybe a bit more subtle, shall we say, you can always go Anaheim Electronics, right? It's a good look, especially on the dark gray. Oh yeah. You can walk down the street and nobody would think that's from Gundam or anime or anything like that, right? That's a good look. That's a good look right there, you guys. Anaheim. Alright, so now, this one's a bit different. This last one. And this one I wanted to kind of save for last, specifically because it is different, right? So, you guys remember the Sinanju shirt that I wore several streams ago, right? There it is in hat form now. Now, while that is pretty awesome, because it's red on black, right? The cool part is, oh, look at that right there, right on the side. That, my friends, that's what makes this, is the sleeves commander badge right there. That's what makes it. Sinanju. Yes. Yeah. There it is. With the commander. What's up now? So, for those of you guys asking, these will be up probably tomorrow. Keep an eye on the social medias. I will make a post about it when they are available. And, yeah. Really happy with these. Really happy on these. These came out really, really, really well. You know, I can't say enough. The digitization of the designs and everything is top notch. You know, for those of you guys that have any hats from the Chada Mecha store, know that they're awesome. But yeah, the quality is just mwah. Quality's awesome. Quality is awesome. So, like I said, keep an eye on social media, Facebook, Instagram, stuff. And like I said, probably tomorrow they'll be up, and I'll make a post about it. And if you want some, go get some, right? All right, so let's transition into actually doing work. All right. So Chris R says, ever going to get beanies? Is there a real is there really a market for beanies, especially in Arizona? Like, is that really a thing in Arizona? Like to wear beanies? I don't know. I'm just asking. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so that makes sense, you guys. That makes sense. So Chris R was asking on YouTube, will we ever get beanies? I asked. In Arizona? He works in a freezer. I totally get it. I totally get it. In my formative years, college years, yes, I worked in a freezer as well. I worked frozen foods, and then I became Edie's Grand Ice Cream dryers on the West Coast for you guys. I became a salesman for them, so yeah, I was in freezers pretty much all day long. So I totally get where Chris is coming from. Yeah, and working frozen anything sucks. So okay, so let's put it this way: if you guys want beanies, hit me up either through Facebook, Instagram, email me, whatever, and I can get you something. But I don't know if there's really a demand for it in general, right? But yeah, if you guys want beanies, let me know, because I don't think they're that expensive. I think they're pretty inexpensive actually. So, yeah, just you guys, Chris and James and whoever else wants beanies, just hit me up on the back end. We'll hook you up. Don't worry about it. Cheers. All right. Last thing before we switch to camera 2. Scuffle over there on YouTube. He says, Tim, have you seen the box office artist recently draw the Granddaddy Gundam? He draws for Transformers, the comic books, professionally. Yes, I actually did see that. I saw that. It was either last night or this morning. I saw that, and so yeah, I did see that, and he's an amazing artist. I've watched his videos, several times before, but basically it was his first take on actual Gundam, and while I don't necessarily agree with some of the design aesthetics that he went with, I mean, his talent is undeniable and second to none, in my opinion. I love his work with Transformers. It's how they should look, right? In my opinion. But in terms of what he did with the Gundam, I don't know. But that's not his world, so I can't fault him, too much, right? But it was awesome, and I loved the video, and it was just like crazy good. So, and then the coloring at the end, with the flares and the shadows and everything, really, really well done. Yeah, really well done. Andrew Young says, hi, popping in to say hi, and now I'm gonna go get drunk. I mean, come on, guys, it's Andrew, right? Anyway, all right, so let's finally switch gears. 25 minutes into the stream here, and let's get to actual work. Okay, I want to bring you up to speed of where we are, right? So, if you guys had seen the 30-minute out image, you saw the chest, right? Let's explore the modifications to these pieces real quick, because these took some work to put on, right? These took some work. Let's get the shoulders off there, and then let's get the upper body yanked off the bottom. Lost a part of the foot in the process. So we're going to put his legs off to the side. And now we've got that. Let's get zoomed in so you can see with a little bit more detail. Right about there, I think, is good. Nice. So, as you can see, this came out real nice. Fits really well over the shoulder mechanisms and everything. And as you can see here on this side, I got a little overzealous with this angle and this angle a little bit, so I had to back pad that with some styrene strip. But nice and flush as compared to the other side. Yeah, looking good. So like I said, getting the Gouf custom chest pieces on here was not necessarily an easy task. Yeah. Let's show you kind of the gory details, if you will. Let's get the hose assembly off there first. All right, so get that removed and get that removed. All right, so let's take a look at the inner frame first, right? A lot of surgery had to be done to the inner frame here. So first thing that I had to do, there was a peg and socket assembly right here. That all got ground away. That had to go. So I had to glue the two pieces of the chest together, which would have been done down the line anyway. I had to do that right away to make sure that these held together, so I could eliminate that peg and socket assembly here, and that's on both sides, right? And then also, if you notice here, this front flange I had to grind down quite a bit so it's flush with the actual armor, and that had to be done on both sides too. And then on the back, you can see these two styrene strips that I had to glue on the back as well. So I'll explain those here in just a second. Now, as for the actual chest piece, this opening was not this size. This was probably about half this size, and it was it was a rectangle. So the Gouf Custom did not have the same articulation style as the Zaku 2.0. The Zaku 2.0 head and shoulders above where the old Gouf Custom Master Grade was in terms of overall articulation and honestly in just overall build quality. But, it's old. What are you going to do? So I had to get the opening a little bit, basically the same, but even a little bit bigger than the original piece. So how would you do that? And then how do you locate it properly to fit that perfectly on the piece, right? That was the big question. That was the thing that kind of racked my mind for a good amount of time. So what I did, and the thing I came up with, was to use the opposite side piece, the original piece, right, that has the perfect opening, use that as a template. So what I did is I took some double-sided tape, popped it to the surface, and then put the original piece over top of the opening where I wanted it to be, where I wanted it to line up, and basically quickly just scribed in with the general scriber, scribed in the cut line, went back, dremeled out what I could, and then cleaned the rest up with a knife and files, and then beveled the edges all the way around to make that look really pretty nice. So that, for both parts, is what had to be done. And thankfully, they married up and they looked legit. And they, you know, they fit really well, as you guys saw. So that was a bit of a tough thing too. But then, aside from the side opening, you have to contend with the bottom here, with the body, where it comes into contact with the body. So again, same thing. Use the opposite piece. What I did then was, I took, where'd the block go? There's my block. So I took one of my handy dandy, flat as can be, 1, 2, 3 blocks, right? And laid these against each other, flat, and then scribed a line in here to match the contour of the body opening. And then I actually had to recess this back a little bit because this piece is actually wider than the original. So as you can see, that mirrors up quite nicely. Obviously this one is a little bit deeper, like I said, but that worked out really, really well, using the original piece as your template, right? So that worked out real well. Worked out real well. Now, the next problem, once I got it to fit, the next problem I had was, how do you get it to stay on securely? So the issue is that there's not a ton of meat on the inside of this piece. Sure, there's some down here. There's a bunch down here at the bottom, but what about the top? The top will just be flailing off like bat wings, right? And that's not what I wanted. So on the original piece, there is this this slot right here, and this gap is perfectly a 1 millimeter slot. So glued on a 1 millimeter strip that secures perfectly into that slot, just like that. Now, secure. Fits, looks nice. Yeah? So we got the parts to stay. We got the fit right. That's all good. Now what about the backpack? Because the backpack's got to go on this thing. Because if you notice, the original piece, as compared to the Gouf custom piece, is much thinner. And it's much more body hugging than the Gouf custom piece. Which, mind you, I like the Gouf custom piece. It's a good look, right? But the back here, you can see, is really thick. It's about, that's about 1.5 millimeters as compared to your normal 1 millimeter widths on pretty much every other part, right? So that's actually really thick back here. So that added some bulk to the back. Now, with the backpack, for those of you that have the Zaku 2, you have this big gaping block back here. With the normal Zaku 2, you have... That's not it. Where'd that block go? Ah, here it is. You have this this block that slots in really, really perfectly in here. And then the rest of the backpack goes on top of this and everything's good with the world. But with the high mobility backpack, that's built into the actual backpack. So there's no real taking it off or anything, right? So this actually now slots in almost perfectly if I can get it lined up right. Come on, you. All right, what's going on here? There we go. There it is. All right, so this slots in now perfectly, but since this is 1.5 millimeters longer at the back, right? There's 1.5 millimeters gap between the inner frame chest and the front of the backpack. So that's not a huge deal. That can be filled in with styrene strip or plate or what have you, and obviously you do not see the difference. Even on the bottom here, there's no difference. The contour is perfect as well. So that came out real good, and I'm very happy with that. So obviously some huge gaps to fill right here, but that'll come later. And so yeah, so there is the Gouf, the Gouf custom chess pieces transplanted on to the Zaku 2. Like I said, it took work, you guys. This was more like surgery rather than Legos. These things don't just pop on, right? So it takes a bit of work. So, and then obviously to mirror the two parts took even more work. But that came out really good. And I'm done with that for tonight. We're not going to work on that. We're going to work on some shields, right? You guys saw the double shield look. I like that double shield look. What I don't like is the curvy shield. I never have liked the curvy shield. I like the shield in general. I just don't like the curve. So we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that, right? So this is the other shield. And Spider 2K2 James 2, if you're still watching, probably recognize this bad boy, right? This is the kind of spare shield, and that came from the spare kit that James had sent me. So we're gonna do a little bit of modification. As you can see, I have mocked up 2 lines here, right there and there. Now, the reason why these 2 lines are here is because that is the where the 45 matches up. So as you can see, there's a little gap right there, and right where the gap closes is where that line is. So if we grind this plastic down to both of those lines, then we get a perfect 45-degree angle. Now, that'll obviously open up a hole in this because there's not enough meat on this part to sustain that much, grinding and material loss. Not an issue. We'll back that up. We'll cover over that with 1 millimeter plate, and then the structural integrity in that hole will be gone, and it'll be good. It'll be all good. So, now there are ways to get this done, right? And as you can see, well, you might not be able to see that, but what I can see is just from the little bit of filing that I've done thus far to this thing, you can see light through the plastic already. So that's what I mean. There's not enough meat on this particular section for it to really stand up to heavy grinding. So there's going to be a hole. It's going to be needed to backfill, right? So, Bailey says, I thought you would just plate it up. And I thought about that. I did. I thought about that, but I didn't want to alter the proportions of the shield just yet, because there are other plans for the shield, right? I wanted to get the base shape done first, and then tack onto it, because what I'm thinking is to add extra armor onto this, and if we plated this up, it would just be overall bigger, and that's not really what I want. I want the original shape of the shield, but then added armor on top of it. So that's why I'm going this route at this point. So Logan C, chamfering. Yes, we are basically chamfering, angling the round part for this shield. So yeah, I got an eyelash in my eye or something. That's better. All right, so now we could sit here with our, big old bastard file. We could sit here for an hour grinding away at this thing, right? We could do that. We could totally do that. I don't want to do that. I don't have time for that. You guys don't have time for that. And let's be honest, sitting here grinding away is a grind to watch, right? So we're not going to do that. We're going to break out the big guns, and we're going to call out the Dremel. So, and that's not something you guys see me use a lot, is the Dremel. For two reasons. Number one, it's a sledgehammer, when most of the times you need a scalpel, right? Second is it's freaking loud, so it's going to drown out most of my talking, and it's probably going to be very, very loud on your side. So, now, before we get into the Dremel, I do have to say, if you use a Dremel or any style rotary tool, make sure you use a set of these. Protect your eyes, you guys. Please. That's very, very important. These things have saved my eyes more times than I can count, right? So, safety glasses on. Okay. We've got the Dremel, got the precision wand, right? And we just have a cylindrical focus camera. Just a cylindrical cutting bit here. This is my favorite bit. This is the one I use the most. Yeah, so let's get to it. This is going to get loud, you guys, so careful. Here we go! Now, all right. So on second thought, that's going to take a while with that bit too. So let's call out the big guns. Shit, they're in the other room. Hang on. I gotta go get the other bits. Stay right there, don't move. Now see guys, this is why a wireless video source would be great, because I could take you with me, right? I could take you with me on my journeys when I have to go and grab things from the other room. You could have taken a tour of the Child of Mecha abode, right? But what are you gonna do? All right, so like I said, the cylindrical grinding bit is good, right? On a lot of places. Yeah? But when you really need to clear material, one of these guys, these heavy-duty sanding bits, this will clear material. And I'll show you that here in just a second. Let's get this switched out here real quick. And yeah, I've got two. So we're going to drop that off there. Now the reason why this is sticking in here is because it locks the chuck in place so it doesn't continually spin. We get that cranked down real nice and tight. Safety glasses on. Here we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Whew, whew, that's hot. That's hot. The molten shards of plastic are not great on the skin. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. That looks good. That looks kind of where we want it to be, right? That looks good. So, obviously, as you can see, I didn't take it all the way to the line. Again, where this thing is a sledgehammer, this thing is like dynamite. Right? JP over there on YouTube, wear those mechanic gloves for safety. Yeah, I know, right? If I had a pair, buddy, if I had a pair, I probably would be. But we're going to switch back to the cylindrical grinding bit, and then we're going to do a little bit more kind of finer grinding here. And we're going to get down close to those lines, and then we'll switch over to the bastard file. So here we go. Okay. All right. So there we go. That, whew, that is that. So we're done with the Dremel for right now, right? Let's see. Chris R says I use so many of those on my Mad Max scratch build. Nice. Bailey says basically just melting away. Anyway, yeah, I mean pretty much. I mean it grinds it, but yeah, it melts the plastic for the most part. But it moves material, and that's what we wanted, right? Nice. Yeah, no, Hasaki Art says the Dremel is too high. Mine is an old school variable speed. The lowest speed is 5,000. But it moves material. That's what I like. All right, so now we switch to just a good old bastard file, right? Jeremy Christopher Russell's over there on Facebook. He says, good evening. Daft Robo is checking in. What's up, Shane? In with us as well. Good to have you guys. Shane says, getting dirty in here. Yes, sir. As always. That probably wasn't a smart thing to do. Hey man, Scuffle, don't do that. Scuffle over here on YouTube, he says, when he removes styrene, do we bring his laid count down? The part count. So technically he's at a -1 styrene laid down in 61 minutes. Thanks, Scuffle. I appreciate that, buddy. Big jerk. Oh man. Gamerbud sounds like the Dremel was screaming. Why? As it is chipping away at the piece. Yeah, you know. Oops. So, all right. So now we've got our lines done. Now it's just kind of fine tuning and getting this thing nice and straight, right? So with this, you want to kind of attack it at, you know, from different angles. So start off this way and then switch back to here and then turn it around, just so that you're getting proper filing and hopefully a nice flat bevel in this thing all the way around. And now that's starting to flatten out, which is good. Very good. Now, from what I can see, it's low on this side, high on this side. So we're going to take off, we're going to focus on this side, angle that up. We're angling it up this way a little bit, just a bit, right? Hardly enough that you can see, but enough so that it puts pressure on this side, and it will start to remove the material from this side more than the opposite. Now, what you can't see is that I'm pressing down harder with my thumb here, and basically my forefinger and my middle finger just kind of keeping the piece steady. So that pressure is going to put uneven, obviously, filing pressure on this, and it's going to remove more material from this side, right? So that's looking much better. That's getting a lot flatter. Really, really good. So just as a mock-up, you know, we would put a piece of styrene sheet over this, and then once it's once the glue is cured, we trim that up nice and flush. Perfect, right? So, Daft Robo, Shane says the missus and I are in the lab building shit, watching you, my man. Nice. That's awesome, dude. So, like, again, for those of you guys that aren't subscribed or aren't following Shane the Daft Robo on Instagram, he does live streams on Instagram sometimes, and he and the Mrs. Courtney, they build and answer questions, and they're just fun to watch. They're a good couple to watch build, because they're both kind of, you know, funny and silly, and they're both fucking charming. You know, what more can I say? So go, if you don't follow Shane the Daft Robo, go follow him. It's worth it on Instagram. Ooh, there we go. That's what we're talking about. All right, so the evenness with that line is starting to become real. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, so just maybe just a little bit more. We're going even pressure now, pressing down on both sides now. And that's creeping up on that line ever so nicely. So now we're going to switch positions. We're going to go this side. And basically right now we're flattening this this bevel. That top side is looking really, really good along that line. I mean, it is razor thin close. Yeah. Courtney, Daft Robo says, Courtney said, "You're charming." Aw, well, thank you. So let's check the angle. Ooh, that's pretty darn close. That's not bad. Maybe not a perfect 45 degree, because I see just a sliver, just a sliver of light coming through. Maybe not perfect, but damn close. Enough that you will never notice, right? So there we go. That's not the sanding block I wanted. Aha, here we go. So now let's switch to the sanding block. Really kind of make this dead ass flat here. Fun with sanding, everybody. Fun with sanding. All right, so that's looking good. That's creeping up real close on that line. And that is a consistent angle all the way through. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And what I'm trying to do now is sneak up on this line, because since there was a sliver of light down here, that means this top angle is a little bit too far off. So maybe my line, my marking of the line, was just a hair off, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to apply pressure to this top edge so it sands down to that line quicker than on that bottom, just to try and compensate for maybe my marking inability or something, right? Ooh, you guys. All right, so that, let's bring it up to the front. That is actually much better than it was. Much better. There's hardly any gap in there now. So I am pleased with that. So now, as you can see, the good thing about this is that it has these inner splines here too, right? That the shield pops onto. And now one thing that we're going to have to do with the inner shield piece is there's two splines here that we're just going to have to trim down ever so slightly. So not a big deal at all. And we'll basically take our nippers and rest them against, be good if I was on camera, right? Rest them against the surface there. Clip those. Clip that. And then what we can do is, just for good measure, take our sanding block, sand these back just a little bit more. Just for good measure. So now, when we plate up this angle here, this should all fit perfectly snug and straight. And I'm looking for gaps. I don't see any, you guys. So that now is a really nice beveled shield, right? So now we have to transition into getting this this capped off. So have this 1mm sheet. This is just scrap from the Mohawk, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to cut this down to size, and we're going to apply it to the shoulder shield. Just like that. Now you want a little overhang on all sides just to be on the safe side. And then that way, when you go to glue it, and then when the glue cures, you can trim it up, make it flush with the rest of the part, and it's all pretty, right? Superset5 over there on Twitch, he says, random question, has there been any new news on the Alex Gundam band I teased a few weeks ago? If there has been, I haven't seen it. Yeah, I haven't seen it. So, there you go. So there we go. Dean's with us. What's up, Dean? Good to see you. Our part counter. Scuffle, tell him the new rule, I guess. I don't like this rule particularly, I'm just saying. But if that's what we're going with. Okay, so we're gonna go 12 millimeter on this. Right there. Okay, so we've got that scored. Now to pop that piece off of there, just straight-nosed pliers, flat-nosed pliers, I should say. And now we've got our piece that we can lay down. Not a ton of excess on this thing, so that will make trimming a lot easier, right? All right, so let's remove the inner part of the shield. We'll set that off to the side. And what this is going to take good old plastic magic. All right? So let's get this uncapped. Now, most of the time, I am very careful with the glue and everything. Let's get zoomed out just a bit. There we go. For this, I'm going to slather it on. Giving you guys the heads up now because some of you will be like, oh my god, he's using too much glue. No, it's by design. It's by design. You want every little angle, every part to grip and adhere to the plastic sheet, because you want to return the structural integrity of this thing. Okay, so there's that. Let's get this on here. Beautiful. Very nice. Very, very nice. All right, so now you can see when this is popped in there, it looks really good. You're never going to see that inside anyways, because that's going to be the hinge. The shoulder hinge is going to be there in the way, so I'm not worried about that at all. So, and if worse comes to worse, we'll clean up the really nasty stuff once the glue is cured up. Let's just get a little bit on the inside here, just so that it's 100% glued down. Slather it in there, flood it almost. Now that is not going to go anywhere. Done deal. So that, my friends, is how we bevel the Zaku shield. So we'll give that some time to cure. And then, like I said, we'll trim it up. It'll look good. It'll look good. Let's get caught up with the chat, though. Let's see. Enrico Asunohashi is here with us. What's going on? Enrico. Let's see. Sorvon says, oh, no news on Alex yet that I've seen. Yeah, I haven't seen that either. Gary Gunpla's over here now on YouTube. He says Twitch app was acting up. Very good. Very good. Rock and roll. Let's see. I know I'm saying, looking at these and reading these in out of order. I do know that. Let's see. Sorvon 044 or 46 degrees. Maybe 45 and a half. We'll go with that. Daf Robo, looking money. Thank you, brother. Let's see. Camera Bud says it's always better on YouTube. Nice. Chris R in the Dremel. Yep. Bailey, a new Harbor Freight opened up nearby, so they've been mailing our 20% coupons like crazy. Yeah, Harbor Freight, man. I know Chris R said he had an engine hoist and stuff from them. Harbor Freight, for those of you guys that live in the U.S. And are lucky enough to have one around you, mine's like probably about a half hour or so away, maybe a little bit longer. You know, it's a cool store, man. You have to be careful because they do have junk in there, but you know, you have to use some common sense, right? Like the pressure pot that I have is Harbor Freight, and it works great. But on the flip side, I have, where is it? Here. I have these little 4-inch clamps from them that cost 99 cents a piece, and they're crap. I bought like 6 of them, and maybe 2 of them really work. So Harbor Freight is hit and miss, but that's why they have reviews online. And if you read the reviews, then you'll probably be in good shape. So I got my ultrasonic cleaner from them, and it works great. And I have 0 issues with it, right? I bought some other things, miscellaneous things from them, and yeah, you know, I can't complain. I can't complain. But again, read the reviews and do your homework, and you'll be fine. So there you go. That's my 2 cents on Harbor Freight. They have some good shit. They have some bad shit too. So it is what it is. Let's see. HRO148. Where can I get that T-square? You mean this one right here? This one? Yeah, that one I don't know if you can get on Amazon, like Chris R said. I don't know if I found it on Amazon or not. I've got a bunch of stuff on there, and I just updated the list yesterday, but I don't know if the T-square is on there. But if it's not, check out Hobby Search. They definitely have it, and it may or may not be in stock, and it comes in 2 sizes. It comes in the little small one, which I really like. This is kind of the heavy-duty ruler that I always use, but then they make a bigger one, which I don't know where it is. Anyway, it's around here somewhere, but it's bigger than this. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Shit, it was staring me right in the face. So, there you go. That's the bigger one. I like the smaller one, and that's the first one that I got. But this bigger one comes in handy when you need to cut, you know, kind of medium-sized plastic and stuff. It's really, really good. But for most of my uses, the smaller one I use like a workhorse. So, yeah. Let's see. Inspired 2K2, James 2. I'm going to an event on Sunday in Warminster, Pennsylvania called ZoloCon. Heard they have some Gunpla and a ton of figures there. There you go. Asteroid Kai, if the Alex 2.0 becomes P Bandai, I'm flipping shit to him. Yeah, you and me both, dude. I would be flipping shit as well. Gamer Bud, now are you going to be putting plate under the shield too, so the angle you made matches, or are you going to leave it curved as is? That's a great question. I might just leave it curved as is, or I might be plating over top of it, which more than likely is going to be the case, because we're going to armor this shield up. Much like the Justice shoulder armor where I added those shaped plates, we're going to be doing similar things to the outside of the shield and also on the sides too. So it'll look like basically like the added armor is kind of strapped on, or you know, slid over the original shield. And you know, that's why I wanted to actually cut into this shield to reshape it rather than just plate over top of it. So there we go. Let's see. Scuffle. Dean, new rule. If he removes styrene by grinding it down, we bring his laid count down by 1. I don't like that at all, but whatever, it's your guys' game. I'm not gonna complain. Superset 5, they're making a high-grade Sandrock Gundam? Question mark. Interesting. I don't know, I haven't seen it. But if they are, I guess that's cool. Teeny tiny little things. It says, so that corner he dremelled off brought him down to -1. If he puts a piece on top of it, he'll be back to 0. So I guess we're back at 0. Dean's like, ooh, nice. I can see this going downhill fast. Ultraman Dyna says, I highly doubt that they would go through all the trouble of making a brand new mold for that MS just to make it Pete Bandai, but I wouldn't put it past them. Yeah, you know, if they make a Master Grade Alex 2.0, I doubt very seriously it would be P Bandai. Simply because, you know, you're talking about the anniversary for 0080, I think, is this year. What is it, 20 years? 30? I don't know. 25? Something. And it's a mainstream Gundam, right? The Hazel obviously was a little bit... Oh, 30 for 0080. Wow, it's been that long? Crazy. I feel old now. I was 11 when that came out? Shit. Crazy. So anyway, I digress. I don't think they would make it P Bandai. I think it'll be a wide release because it's a mainstream Gundam. And it's a popular Gundam still, from what I understand as well, at least in Japan. Sort of on year 0, yeah, to go with the Magwinok, they just announced. Oh, okay, so that's pretty interesting. Bailey says you need to set it good like a weld. Yeah, and that's why we used that, the good stuff, you know, plastic magic. Asteroid Kai Dyna, you know, Bandai will be on some shit if they did. Yeah, right? Bailey says that's where the thicker Tamiya cement comes in handy. Yeah. It just, you know, I like plastic magic better. It's just my preference, you know? Scuffle says, and his Loctite Crazy Glue sponsorship just went out the window. Awesome. Awesome. Superset5 over there on Twitch says, nice, I hope they make a high-grade death size. Well, it wouldn't surprise me at this point. You know, if you're going to do one, you got to do them all, right? Let's see. Ultraman Dyna, oh yeah, they would be hearing it from fans. Yeah, they would. Scuffle Glue? I thought that was a solvent. Same thing. Space Rat 53, need to build my Char Zaku 2.0 so I can finally build a Zaku 2.0 Char collection, and as reference for Project Black Rabbit. However, the Master Grade Sinanju Steinver Ka I got for Christmas keeps calling me. Dude, that is such a good kit. You don't even know. The engineering on this Stein is just amazing. Probably one of the best kits that I've... One of the best, if not the best kit that I've ever put together. It would be hard to argue against that kit. I love it so much. Proportions are great. The details are wonderful. The mechanisms and everything that go into the articulation of the joints and everything is just, oh, so nice. So nice. So I can understand I can understand why it's calling you. Solvent-based glue, yeah. Semantics, man, semantics. Ultraman Dyna, I figure that the regular version will be mass-produced, but the one with all the armor will be P. Bandai. Ooh. That's, that's interesting. That's interesting. I wonder if they would do that. Because the armor came with the 1.0. I mean, it wasn't much to it, but still. But it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. So, anyway. Let's see. There's something from Victory Gundam they're going to announce. Spider 2K2, Bailey, I saw that as well. Logan C, just a random question from a modification noob. How do you keep your bevels or just existing lines on Gunpla crisp when sanding? Great question, Logan. So with keeping hard edges like that, crisp edges, as you say, it's important to use hard sanders, meaning a file, like a bastard file, or a nice set of these needle files, right? These are rigid sanding implements that keep straight. Now, when you're using sandpaper, obviously, you know, normal sandpaper, that's going to curve with your finger and everything. That's why it's important to put them on sanding blocks, right? So you can get either scrap pieces of acrylic or cut down like MDF, medium density fiberboard, and use some double-sided tape and stick the block down to that, trim around the perimeter, and then you've got a nice, great sanding block. This is very, very useful when keeping crisp edges. So that's what we use. Good question. Bailey says they opened the Harbor Freight across the street from Northern Tool. Shots fired with that move. Northern Tool. I am not familiar with that particular store. I'm guessing from the context of Bailey's comment that they are Harbor Freight's competitor. But as far as I know, they don't have any in Maryland, so I'm unfamiliar with that particular company. Dan Rafael Hilario over there on Facebook. Welcome, Dan. Thank you for watching. He says, you got me buying Madworks chisels and other tools. Gonna detail my Gunpla because your videos are so instructive. More power, bro. Thank you, man. That's awesome. See, you guys, that's what I like to hear. You know, between Dan and Logan asking questions, Superset over on Twitch. I love that. I absolutely, you know, camera one. Screw this. Let's talk for a few seconds about this, because that makes me feel good, man. People coming in, watching the stream, learning stuff, doing bigger and better things, moving their skill set along. Ah, I love that. That's what makes all of this worth it, you guys. Seriously. So, Dan, thank you for your comment, dude. That's awesome. That is awesome. That's really, really cool. Really cool. Daft Robo says, oh, those clamps are horrible. Yeah, these things, they are terrible. He says, I have 6, none are usable. Ugh, yeah, right? Sorvon 0, I need to get one of those pressure pots. Dude, yeah. And they're not really that expensive either. I think the pressure pot itself is, I think it's around $100. And then the accessories that you need to break it down and turn it into a pressure, convert it, basically it's a paint pot. But you need to convert it to be a pressure pot where it doesn't have any output. It just has an input, right? So you do need some accessories to, you know, to make it into that. But those are inexpensive too, and you can get most of that stuff at Harbor Freight. Now, what I would say is invest in a good pressure release valve. Go online for that. Spend some money on a good pressure release valve. I have a 60 psi pressure relief valve on there. I usually apply pressure to about 55 psi. That's been like the Goldilocks zone for my casting and everything. So once it reaches 60 for some reason, it pops the valve and releases until it goes back down to 60 at that point. I have a little plastic here on my shirt that I noticed on camera. That's unseemly, isn't it? Daft Robo says, yeah, I got mine from Hobby Search. George Lelios over here on YouTube, in the market for a sonic cleaner, checking out Harbor Freight now. Thanks. Yeah, man, absolutely. Absolutely. I should try to find that on... I should try to find one and put it on the list on Amazon, because people seem to like the ultrasonic cleaners. They do come in very handy. And honestly, the wife likes it too. She can clean her jewelry. So, dual purpose, right, guys? If you can make your wife happy with a purchase, then it's all good, right? Just say, oh yeah, honey, let's get an ultrasonic cleaner so we can clean your jewelry, right? And she'll be like, that's a really good idea. And then every few months, when you're not using it to clean her jewelry, you can bring it down to your workshop or something like that and clean your tools and parts and stuff like that. And she'll be like, where's the ultrasonic cleaner? Oh, I'll get it. Don't worry about it. So, yeah. Keep that in mind, guys. It works. So, let's see. Oh, yeah. HR148, yeah, the T-Square is not on Amazon. Cool. The angle finder, the metal protractor, that is on Amazon, because that's where I got mine. So there you go. Let's see. Bailey and Enrica Asunahashi replied to Logan C about keeping lines crisp. Excellent. He says, thanks, I've been using spongy sanding sticks. Wondered if that was the issue. Yep, that absolutely is. Superset5 over there on Twitch, he says, I'm thinking on getting a Master Grade Snodgy NT version. I have an idea of kit bashing it with a Barbados, Lupus, or Rex. Interesting. Very interesting. Let's see. Scuffle, put those clay things they put on tanks when they armor up. Oh, Zimmerit, Bailey says, yeah. George Lely says, join the club. I was out of college. We were talking about the 30th anniversary for 0080. Bailey says, dang, I was 3. You're a baby. But that's okay. Spider 2K2, wasn't the Hazel kit based on the Mark II? Yes, it was. Superset 5, I can see them making an Exo armor the Alex has being Panda... P Bandai. Yeah, I could see that too. I could see that too. Where's Bailey says, where's the Sandrock announcement? Gunpla nerd, different guy, on Instagram doesn't have anything. He's usually the first. Yeah, Gunpla nerd is a British gentleman, and he kind of breaks news sometimes, and who knows, maybe he has an inside track on something. The other guy, he's an asshole. Moving on. Sorvon over there on Twitch says, yeah, I could definitely see the Chobham armor being P Bandai, just like they did with the V2's packs or EZZ. Yeah, I mean, it's a 50-50 shot. You know, it's a 50-50 shot. Guess we'll wait and see, right? Who knows if we're even getting a Master Grade 2.0 at this point? Hell, it could have been a real grade for all we know. Scuffle says, I used an extra I.O. cover from the back of my computer taped to sandpaper to make a nice, rigid yet thin tool to sand with. There you go, man. Recycle. Let's see. Logan C. Dude, that's a great idea. I have a ton of extra PC parts. There we go. There we go. Bailey says, woo, if it is a second victory. Nice. Astray Kai, yeah, there's a Northern Tool next to the Hobbytown, USA. I've not heard of this Northern Tool place, you guys. I gotta look at this place. I gotta look this up now. Daft Robo, good shit. Excellent, thank you. Scuffle says, best part is that since it's L-shaped, you get leverage. I lost something. I don't know. Saki Art says, hell yeah, Bailey, the high-grade Sandrock, exciting times. Space Refuge 3, we need to build each other up and help improve as Gunpla builders. Let's get a gold GBWC trophy for the United States. We'll see, man. We'll see, right? Hasaki Art, I'm just hoping either Leo or some of those new kits makes it to RE100. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. Julie Stemsky, what do you use the pressure pot for? Great question. For resin casting, and also to make the molds for resin casting. So what I do is I use long cure silicone mold rubber and also long cure resin. The silicone mold rubber, I think, is a 4 or 6 hour cure, and then the resin is definitely a 4-hour cure. Now they have 10-minute cure time resins. I don't like that because you get a higher chance of bubbles being trapped in there with smaller parts that you're trying to duplicate. So what I do is I use longer cure resin, and then put it in the pressure pot, apply the pressure. Any bubbles that happen to get caught on the surface of the mold, it just basically crushes that down to nothing, and then you're left with a perfect bubble-free mold and bubble-free casting. You have to do that with the mold too, because if you have any errant little bubbles or something like that in there, and you go to pressure cast your resin copy, it'll come out looking like a porcupine. And I've seen it happen. I have an old friend of mine did that, and he's just like, I don't know what's going on. And I said, did you pressure your mold? No. And then he pressured the mold. Everything's right with the world. So that's what we use the pressure pot for. It is a little bit more of an advanced tool. Obviously, it's a little bit more on the expensive side, and it's something that not everybody's gonna have a use for. So yeah, resin casting is what I use it for. Max over there on YouTube. Welcome, Max. Thank you for watching. He says, Tim, did you stream anything that was about masking on curves and round, e.g. pre-molded screw on a resin part? I don't know. I don't remember. Let's put it that way. We did several streams when I had to mask the Jesta, but obviously the Jesta being an EF mobile suit is more angular and flatter surfaces. So I don't know. I'll be honest. You might have to go through those. I don't remember. But masking on curved surfaces like that, one of the best things that you can do if you're using like the Tamiya brand, masking tape, or any masking tape for that part, thin strips to get your masking line. So cut maybe like a 2mm strip from that 6mm, cut it down to 2mm. That will adhere to the curve much better than that whole big 6mm piece, because only that 2mm is going to be adhered to the surface, and you have the rest of the tape just flailing about, and that could migrate at that point. So trim it down to a much thinner strip to get your masking line, and then use the bigger pieces to simply cover any area that you need to at that point. Now, if it's a screw, like round or something like that, then I would recommend, where is it? I don't know. A circle cutter. They have them on Hobby Search, and they're very useful. Shit, I can't find mine. It's around here somewhere. I put it away because obviously I'm done masking circles and stuff. But aside from that, you can also use like leather hole punches. I use those sometimes if they're perfect, like 2mm, 3mm, 4mm sizes. You can use that as well. Bailey, thank you for the hookup on the link, brother. I appreciate that. So yeah, you can do that. But hey, good question, Max. Thank you for commenting. Scuffle says, Tim, if you missed it, we were talking about this from Harbor Freight briefly that ILM uses. Oh, the combination. Yeah, I've seen those. Those are awesome little tools, and I've actually had my eye on something like that for a while. It's a combination belt grinder and disc sander as well. So those are very interesting little tools. I don't know if I'd ever use it though, honestly, because I can get away with this guy and the Dremel. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if it would serve a use. Hard to say. Now, maybe if I was doing some sort of intricate sanding on a base or something bigger, but on a small part, I don't know. Oh, cool. Hasaki Art. Hendren says, Tim, Haiku makes circle masking shapes as well in all sizes. So there you go. That helps too. A little bit more on the expensive side, and you have to go to Haiku to get them. But if you don't want to dick around with leather hole punches, or if you have an irregular sized round part, and if you can't find or purchase the circle cutter, it's just another option, right? So good call, Henry. Good call. Let's see. Ken Caldwell, Kensuke. He's over there on YouTube. What's up, Ken? Man, still so jealous of you living in Hawaii, brother. He says my guess is real grade. Oh, for the Alex. Fingers crossed, right? Hisaki Arhandran says Master Grade Tristan will be the P Bandai once they release the Master Grade Alex, and I'll buy that. I will buy the Master Grade Tristan if they happen to make it. I will absolutely buy one because I love the design of the Tristan. Bailey says probably. William Williams, I don't know what they are going to do with that Alex, but I do know that the high-grade Gustav Karl is coming out within the next week, and I am adding that box to my backlog for sure. I love the Gustav Karl, man. It's just a chunky boy, and I love the chunky boys, man. So good. Enrico Asanahashi agrees. He says, yeah, that Gustav's looking good. Julie Stemsky, I'm sorry. So with the new rule about applying pieces, does that mean we're at 0 for the night? Yes, at this point we are at 0 for the night. At least for right now, anyways. So Bailey says, yeah, Northern Freight is a direct Harbor Freight competitor, very much same selection of off-brand discount tools of questionable quality. That's kind of what I figured. There we go. Scuffle says they should make a pressure pot with a built-in vibrating table to really, really force them bubbles out. So many innuendos. I'm not going to go there, though. Bailey says, much like recommending generic compressors on Amazon, if it's not an integral piece of equipment that requires precision or durability, go with Northern Tool or Harbor Freight. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, when you need a sledgehammer, right? Go hit up Northern Tool or Harbor Freight, right? Max says, thanks for replying. You're welcome, man. Hasaki, oh yeah, we already talked about the circle circle masking and everything as well, so we're getting caught up, so that's good. Bailey says the circle cutter works aces, though. It is so worth it. I agree with Bailey. Scuttle, man, just make your circular parts the same size as the colored dot stickers at Staples, and you'll never have to worry about masking. Oh, another gem of Scuffle. There we go. Gary Gunpla updated Twitch app. I'm here again. He switched over to Twitch. All good, Gary. All good. Enrique Asanohashi, if you don't plan on using the circle cutter too much, maybe the pre-cut masks are a good alternative. Yeah, absolutely. He says, but yeah, I'd invest on the circle cutter. Sorvan Zero, yeah, definitely buying Gustav Karl. Yeah. Kurt Hill, off to grab some lunch now, Tim. Enjoy the rest of your night. You too, man. Have a wonderful lunch. Thank you for watching. Cool. All right, so now we're caught up. Let's see how the shield is, because it's been cooking for a few minutes. Let's check in on it. Camera 2, right? The great thing about Plastic Magic is that it sets much quicker than Tamiya Extra Thin, and that looks like it's not completely cured at this point. I'd leave it probably for a good 24 hours to completely solidify, but for right now, I think we are in good shape to start trimming this guy down. So, first things first, we want to clear off as much plastic from this as possible, so that's why I'm using the Zurons, the heavy-duty ones. And what I like to do is set the one blade down flush with the plastic, but then angle the other blade up a bit so you're not cutting flush with the part, right? So that leaves a little bit of meat so that you can grind it down later. So there you can kind of see that we took off, you know, just enough for it to be ground down, right? So we're going to do that over here as well. That looks good. And then now with these acute angles here, right there, you do have to be careful. So you want to get your blade almost as far underneath that as possible, but you don't want to use too much pressure or this side of the part will pop up on you. All right, so keep that in mind. And then if worse comes to worse, just come back and just nibble away at the rest of that to get it close. Do the same thing for the other side. This side, there's a lot less plate here, so we're just going to basically trim off this corner just to make that easier. So now, much tighter to the piece as it was before, right? Gamerbud says, speaking of thick suits, I'd love a Master Grade Cerebi or Virtue Gundam. Both are beefy boys. Logan C, didn't they tease the new Virtue? William Williams says, I agree. Next time out, I'm looking for that no grade 1/100 Cerebi. Yeah, that is a beefy one too. Gamerbud, not sure, but now that they are doing a Master Grade Dynamis, are they? Oh, the Dynamis, not a... Never mind, I was thinking of something else. Maybe we can get those in the future, yeah. Bailey said, yes, highly recommend that exact technique when snipping off excess styrene. Yeah, just want to angle it up just a little bit. Leave a little bit of meat on there, and then you can grind it off down to a nice flush level. Superset 5, question on painting. I have a perfect grade Phoenix in my backlog, and I was thinking on airbrushing the blue Mr. Color, crystal color, over the plated gold. What should I use to protect the gold plating? You could probably shoot it. Well, yeah, I mean, you could probably shoot it with Mr. Super Clear, but I mean, you run the same risk with Mr. Super Clear as you do with Mr. Color Paint, because they're both solvent based. They're both lacquer based, products at that point. Now, the gold plating was probably very, very resilient, I would say. So, you might want to test it on a piece of sprue before you commit to an actual part, but I think you should be fine spraying that crystal clear over top of the gold itself. But test it before. Test it before. You got to test it. Bailey says, otherwise you run the risk of snipping into the material you need. Exactly. Sorvon, well, first of all, are you even sure that combination will have the effect you want? Did you test it on some runner? See, there you go, Sorvon. Good call. Gamer Bud, I'm also on a bit of a double O master grade kick, so more master grades the better. Hee. Yeah, I mean, honestly, guys, I think at this point, any master grade wide release is going to be good, right? Because I love the master grade line. I don't know if Bandai loves it particularly, because here I'm snipping off the damn camera and not even and just talking away. But I'm not sure if Bandai likes it so much, because they've obviously reduced the production levels down quite a bit in the last number of years, largely due to their pickup of the Star Wars license, right? And we've heard that directly from Xavier from Bluefin many, many times in the past. So, any master grade at this point is good, right? Yeah, and Bailey, that's a very good point too. Bailey says Bandai loves real grades at the moment. Yeah. Which is a shame, because a lot of people don't like real grades. I'm one of them. I don't like real grades at all. I don't like 144s, but I don't like real grades even on top of that, because they're too fiddly, right? Scuffle says, I love real grades, but I want a 1/100 scale, not a 1/144. Exactly. And that's where that's that sweet spot for Bandai, because they're using less plastic overall, but you're getting the detail that customers crave. What are we to do, right? What are we to do? So we are at the whims of the good old Bandai. So now to start really kind of trimming this down, I'm going to start with the bastard file just real quick, just to take off a decent amount. And you got to be careful when using the bastard file on this, because you don't want to grind any parts up here, right? So I think I'll switch up my grinding position here to a 45, and we're just going to try and take that down as much as possible. And that's looking pretty good. I think we can get the rest of that with a knife. So we'll do the same thing on the top. We're good there too. All right, so moving on now, knife work, right? Let's see, Joey Semsky, if they made as many master grades as they did real grades, I'd probably have to take out a second mortgage on the house to get all the kits I like. Dude, then you would have hated living in the early to mid 2000s, because we had master grades every month. Sometimes two. Yeah, and they were all mass release. We didn't have P Bandai back then, right? that was like the golden age of master grades. You know, you got, I mean, hell, you got kits like the Ground Gundams and the Easy 8 and the Camphor, Zeta Plus, GM Type Cs, the original Hyaku Shiki, you know, you name it. Those were amazing times if you were into 1/100 scale. And honestly, I mean, you had to keep up. Your wallet didn't like you too much at the end of the month, right? So it is what it is. But there we go. Resettle. Half sight. I would love an RG, but just don't have the vision for it. I struggle at times with high grades. Dude, get you a set of these. Seriously, get you a set of these. These are amazing. And yeah, they make detail work and getting down on parts, little parts, so much easier. Gamer Bud, I won't break these ones, I hope. Man, poor Gamer Bud. He had a rough time, if you guys remember, with real grades back a couple months ago. Belly says, yeah, I barely like real grades, only the Mark II, which was the first one, and my wife got it for me, and the real grades SAS, because SAS, but in a portable size. Yeah, right? A much more manageable size, I would think. Scalpel, all these crazy weapons people make, screw that. All the weapons a Gunpla would need to always win are a sanding stick, side cutters, and a CA glue sprayer. There we go. Gamer Bud, I got a real grade full armor unicorn, a Sazabi sitting in the backlog. Nice. In regards to Nohashi, I'm a high grade person because they're cheaper and I'm always broke. Sorry. I'm interested in a few RE100s though. Yeah, RE100s are good kits, man. Good kits. Bailey says, I remember those days around 2001 to about 2005. Yeah. Probably about, you know, I'm thinking it was probably between maybe 2000, 2006, 2007. Was like the golden age, you know, those border, you know, bookend years where, you know, you kind of had tapering and everything of the release schedules. But man, yeah, at least one master grade every month. And then sometimes you get two. So sometimes we would get 13, 14 master grades in a year as compared to, what, a handful that we get now. Maybe, what, 6 or 7? So, yeah, production has obviously come down a lot in terms of the master grade line. And it's for expected reasons. It's business. I can't blame Bandai for doing proper business practices. So it sucks for your consumer, but what are you going to do? Sakuri over there on YouTube, thank you for watching, by the way, says, I find master grades a bit intimidating sometimes as most of my stuff is 144. You know, master grades aren't that bad, you know, especially the older ones, the older good ones, right? So like the the ground-based Gundams, so, you know, your RX-79, you know, your RX-79G, Ground Gundam, your Easy 8, your Ground GM. Those are amazing kits and super just insanely solid, even still today. Some of the best kits Bandai's ever made, and they're older kits too. You know, they have a simplistic inner frame, but let's face it, if you're not doing an inner frame piece, then why bother, right? I mean, I paint what, you know, the colors that you can see on the inner frame. So like the exposed like elbow joints or the wrists or shoulders or whatever, I'll paint that, detail paint that and everything. I mean, you don't need to plate like underneath the thigh or, you know, inside the forearm, you know. So it is what it is. But yeah, the Ground Gundams are so good, so good. And then, you know, you work your way into it, right? You get some of those older master grades, and then you start working your way more toward, you know, your modern master grades that have full, you know, movable pistons and things, which are honestly on par with some of the older perfect grades at this point. So yeah, it's an option, right? It's an option. Logan C. RE100s are super nice for the price. That they are. That they are. I love the RE100 Baowu, by the way. Good kit. Scuffle, I mean, IBO did a great thing with their cheap 100 kits. Could buy the whole collection and not break the bank. Yeah, and they were on par with the older grade master grade kits, right? The older master grades. Spider 2K2 says, Sakuri, if you think master grades are intimidating, wait until you try perfect grade. Well, I think we're moving in baby steps, though. William Williams, the RG Sazabi is the same size as the master grade tall geese. Love every bit of it. Yeah, I mean, the size disparity between the two mobile suits is crazy. Half Sight says, yeah, sadly, Half Sight isn't a cool screen name. Actually lost a significant amount of my already shitty vision about 2 years ago. Wow, I'm sorry about that. That sucks, dude. So yeah, so maybe something like this, maybe something like that would help. I don't know. It's an option, right? Sakuri says, yeah, I have 2 in my backlog, not touched them yet. Oh, perfect grades. Wow. GamerBud, I almost did the Exia PG, but I decided on some master grades instead. Probably a good call. Maybe next year, though. Got to get that lighting kit, though. LOL, holy crap, is that pretty? Yeah, I've seen that, and it is nice. Bailey says, Sakuri, yeah, try ground Gundams, as Tim said, but also any of the version 2.0s. Absolutely. So, like the Zaku 2.0 that we're working on, Gelgu 2.0, all of those. Yeah. Let's see. Gary Gunpla over there on Twitch. Gary says they should make the anime series longer, then make some master grades true out of the series. I mean, you get no complaints from me on that one. I agree with you, brother. Spider2K2 James said, I'm almost finished building my perfect grade Exia. I just have the arms and some of the weapons left to build. Nice. Scuffle, haven't built the master grade Jagan yet, but I hear it's very good, high grade in its construction. As far as I know, the Jagan has full-on inner frame, and it's modern, from what I understand. So I don't know. I have it in the backlog. I haven't done anything with it, obviously. But you know, we'll see. William Williams, I agree with GamerBud. I want to add that lighting perfect grade Exia to my collection. That and the perfect grade Mark II. The perfect grade Mark II. So nice. So nice looking. And that's a kit that doesn't get a lot of love, is the perfect grade Mark II, simply because it's a little bit older and that's more kind of the, I guess, first more modern, for lack of a better term, perfect grade. It's a beautiful piece. Beautiful piece. Well, let's see. Bailey says in the GM Command or GM Sniper Custom Sniper 2, which are GM 2.0 based. Yeah, absolutely. Those are great kits. Great kits. Max over there on YouTube says, Tim, you're not going to be doing any resin kits? Sorry, I mainly build resin kits. Too bad not a lot of Gunpla YouTuber does them anymore. You know, with the rate that I build, which is slow, and the projects that I take on, which are usually complex, and the fact that I compete in GBWC doesn't leave a whole lot of time, unfortunately, for resin. Now, that doesn't mean that I am opposed to resin. Quite the contrary, I love resin. Hence the 1/48 RX-78 Aotan version from G Systems sitting down there. I've had that sitting down there for years, and it's been just staring at me with big puppy dog eyes. But I can't win a free trip to Japan if I built that, though. So just being honest, right? But no, I mean, I think once if I ever kind of just quit competing, which honestly I don't foresee in the next several years, I would tear into resin like a beast. So, but I don't particularly see me building any resin kits on stream or anything, in the foreseeable future. Just being honest. But that's a good question. Gary Gunpla, I have the perfect grade Exia lighting model in my backlog. Woot! Sorvon Zero. People rip on the Master Grade Jagan because it has the simple old style frame instead of the fancy stuff like the RX-78 2.0. Oh, with the movable pistons and everything like that. You know what? Again, I don't care about, you know, foo-foo shit like that, right? And if you look at the joints from the joints the Jagan is compared to the joints for the Gundam or for the Zaku or for the Sinanju Stein. The joint system on the Jagan, as it was designed, as it appears in the shows and anime, is a rotational joint, meaning that you have kind of this barrel joint that rotates around. So there are no pistons involved, right? So it's kind of a victim of its own design, if you think about it. I don't see why people are complaining, but people will find a reason to complain on everything. What are you going to do? Bailey says, I'm willing to have fewer master grades if it means we get heavy hitters like the... I can never pronounce this. Kasi Gundam or for Hathaway's Flash. I mean, yeah. I would buy that. Even though I have the Mechanicore one up there, and I kind of classify that in the same vein as resin. I can't win a trip to Japan with it. I don't know when I would build that, but I would build the shit out of a Bandai version, don't get me wrong. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Even if it was an RE100, like, whatever. Oh, C. Is that how you say it? I always used to say Zai or whatever, C. But then you know, Zach is like, the Kasi? I'm like, what? Oh, you mean the Zai? It's like, yeah, it's spelled X-I, but it's pronounced Kasi. But if it's C, I don't know. You guys know what I mean. I don't care. I don't care anymore. Space Track 53 got the perfect grade Mark II AUG version as my first perfect grade for my birthday last year. I need to build it. Nice. Hasakiara Tim, if Bandai never got around releasing Master Grade Stark Jagan, which I highly doubt, we will scratch build one. That's you know, in a perfect world, I would love for Bandai to make either a Master Grade or an RE100 Kshatriya, and also a Stark Jagan, so I could recreate that scene, that wonderful, perfect fight scene out of the first episode of Unicorn Gundam, where the Stark Jagan and the Kshatriya are fighting. For my money, probably the best fight scene in all of Gundam. But we don't live in a perfect world, do we? What are you going to do? Sakuri says, I've made 2 Master Grade Zakus and 1 GM that I destroyed for a Dio, but I'll give those a try. Thanks, all. You're welcome. Hopefully you have fun with them, because they're good kits that we suggested, yeah. Scuffle says, LOL 144 Psycho Gundam would still be same size as a 1100 RX 178, if not bigger, because you got to remember the Psycho Gundam was right. Max says, no worries, man. Scuffle says, honestly, more moving parts and articulation can sometimes make a kit worse than a previous design. Absolutely, no, I totally agree, because if you guys have ever dealt with the Master Grade RX-78 1.5, which was kind of the prototype or precursor to your modern Master Grades with the movable pistons and all that, it was terrible. It was bad, mainly because Bandai tried too much too soon. It was just, they shoved 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, it wasn't great, and it was over engineered, shall we say, right, for the time. So, and even still today, it's not great compared to your RX 783 3.0 or your Origin RX 78, right? Those are superior models because they are simpler in design, but they have a better aesthetic. So I think Bandai learned something from that, but still, we probably wouldn't have the amazing technology in models that we do today without that 1.5. So give and take, right? Give and take. But yeah, Scuffle, I totally agree with you. Spider2K2, the only resin I have is the bust that Win Imong sent me, and a select few people that he made a year ago or so ago that were for the SD Gundam heads. Yes. I have several. Ooh! No way! What? Yo! Nice. Alright. So, I just got a notification on my phone, and it's from Instagram, and it says, your account has been approved to tag products. Yes! Been waiting for that. I don't know what took so long, like literally like a year, but that's awesome. Anyway, you guys don't care about that, but for these, when they come out or when I post them, now I can tag them. And for those of you guys that are more Instagram based, you can actually click through and get to these much, much easier rather than going through the website and all that, kind of more tedious stuff. So for those of you guys on Instagram, yeah, it'll just make life a lot more convenient. But it's cool for me, right? You guys don't care. I know you guys don't care, but I'm excited about it, so it's pretty awesome. Anyway, Ultraman Dino, when is GBWC again? We haven't got anything here in terms of announcements in the States, but it varies, from competition to competition. You can usually, depend on the normal conventions to have the parts of the competition. Obviously last year with New York going to Anime NYC, that was a bit of a shift. From what I've heard, there's talks about moving it back to NYCC, which I really hope that they do. And they get their judging in order, because if that happens, then I'll go to New York Comic Con. But if not, then I'll stay home and just enter into the online portion. But we're putting the cart before the horse, you guys. There's been no announcements on GWC here in the U.S. thus far, so we gotta wait. We gotta wait. Enrique Asanohashi, C, or Kasai, is the 14th letter of the Greek alphabet. It's pronounced Kasai. Okay, so we were right. So KSI, Kasai. Okay, in modern Greek, and generally Zai or Psi in English. Oh, so we weren't correct. Reading is fundamental. Thanks, Google. Thank you, Enrico. Appreciate that, buddy. Spider2K2. Ultraman, usually around October, November for New York. And that's usually the last leg of the qualifiers here in the U.S. Sorvon Zero, well, Stark Jagan is quite likely as a P band. Yeah, I kind of unfortunately agree with that, but I hope they don't. I hope they make the Stark. I hope they see the value in the Stark and they release it as a mass release. But yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to be anything but P Bandai. Scuffle says, almost as bad as when somebody says Barbados, like the location, Barbatos, the devil. Yeah, Barbatos, right? Barbados. Barbados is the place. But yeah, no, I agree. Scuffle, I agree. Logan C. Oh my God, yes, Master Grade Kshatriya. Man, if Bandai could figure out the weight issues with the wing binders, I think we'd be set. I think they'd release it in a heartbeat. But it's the weight. It's the weight of the wing binders. They've got to figure something out. They've got to kind of come up with some sort of mechanism where it doesn't make it insanely expensive to produce, but also they've got to make sure that it's not flimsy. It's a fine line. It's a fine line. Hasaki Art, I will bet on the Master Grade C, whatever. XI. Gundam this coming December or next year's fall. Yeah, you know, honestly, I don't think Bandai's got to strike while the iron's hot, man. They've got to release that thing right around when Hathaway's Flash comes out, or shortly after that. They've got to do something. They've got to move on that. I mean, because it's either that or the Penelope, right? And the Penelope's bigger than the Kasai or Sai or whatever, C. And that's already huge to begin with. That would probably be the biggest Gundam that they've made thus far, because it is the biggest. So, you know, I would expect, if they were even to consider making a Penelope, it would probably be an RE. But I don't even think that at this point. So, but we'll see, right? We'll see. Sakuri, love the Kshatriya. Me too. Donnie Baxter over there on Facebook. Why can't Bandai get out a 2.0 camphor? I'd love to see that. Most wanted. Yeah, dude, I'd like to see that too. Although the original camphor's not bad. It's just dated, you know? It's just dated. But I agree, a 2.0 camphor would be pretty damn cool. Maybe having some of the aspects like the Go-Go 1/100 scale version, right? So, what? Oh, I don't know. Oh, Chris. Oh, okay. So he says, Tim, what shipping coming destroyed your decals again? EMS? No. Okay, so Chris is talking about, well, I assume that he's talking about Taobao shipping. No, it was the economy version, the Taobao economy I picked, and no, it was not EMS, but honestly, I would either pick EMS or DHL. I wouldn't go Taobao economy again. So, but again, cart before the horse. We're not caught up with the comments just yet. So, Sakuri says that would be huge. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Ultraman Dyna, Spider 2K2, cool, thanks. I think that I will be going to California 1 with my entry. Nice. Space Rider 53. P Bandai Master Grade Jagan D type from Gundam Unicorn was announced, so the base for the Master Grade Stark Jagan is out there. Yeah, no, I agree. And you know, I think the D was probably a good call for P Bandai, because I mean it was just a few parts that's different. So why market that as a wide release when you don't have to, right? So, Gary Gunpla over there on Twitch says, Master Grade Virtue, Master Grade Curios, patiently waiting. I saw something that hinted to a Master Grade Curios today, but it wasn't confirmed. So, I don't know. Julie Stemke, Tim, which shipping option do you use for Hobby Search? I know I'm putting, again, jumping out of order, you guys. For Hobby Search, EMS all day. Yeah, EMS all day. Gets quick. It gets here quick. They treat it good, and it's usually pretty economical. So yeah, EMS for Hobby Search. But anyway, back to our regularly scheduled comments. Hasaki Art totally agreed about the Stark Jagan. Hasaki Art says the best scene in the fight scene that I was talking about earlier. Yes, amazing scene. Kshatriya needs a Verka. I do agree with that. I think if they were going to make a Master Grade for the Kshatriya, that would probably be the only way to go. Really, I mean, just really go hog on it. Just go crazy. But that's just my 2 cents. I don't work for Bandai, so I can't say what they should or shouldn't do with their business, right? Gamer Bud, I just built the high-grade Stark Jagan. Cool-looking kit, but the extra leg parts were too shaky and loose. Yeah, I mean, I think that they would fix that, you know, if they made a master grid and stuff. Bailey says the 1.5 still looks the best, in my opinion, the RX-78. Really? You think so? I don't know. I like the Origin. Logan C, if you can make a Neo Zeon, you can make a Kshatriya. Maybe there are different weight issues that you do have to deal with in terms of the Kshatriya, because those big wing binders are only held up by one arm, articulating arm in the series, so you do have different weight concerns. The Neo Zeon is more of a you could build it in gravity, hence why they made the kit. But the Kshatriya definitely will have weight issues in terms of those arms to hold those wing binders. So different engineering tasks, definitely. So Ultraman Dyna, they need to give us a Dom Tropin and or a Hygog Master Grade first. I would buy both of them. Bailey, I got the 1-year war version because the proportions are so close to the 1.5. So you like, so Bailey, if I'm understanding, you like kind of the more kind of anime-ish RX-78 1.0 style proportions, right? That's kind of what I'm getting. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but. Gamer Bud, I got the RX-78 3.0 sitting on my desk now, and it's still to this date my favorite build. So there you go. Gamer Bud, nice. Congrats, Tim. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. It's just one of those things. Still don't know what to do with it. Enrico Asanohashi says, I have one of those paint pusher busts too. It's great. Still don't know what to do with it. Okay, so I jumped a little bit before that. Let's see. Got no spare SD heads. Then just buy an SD kit, man. They're cheap. They're like $6, right? You can build something amazing. Sakuri says July in Australia at Smash. Man, I would love to go down to Australia GBWC. I would love that, man. I would jump on a plane in a second if I could afford it. Australia is one of my favorite GBWC qualifiers. Dude, I know, right? Such a awesome time, it looks like. This couple says, no need to find an SD head. You can use a 1/60th no-grade Exia head. Use the same ball joint size. There you go. Sakuri, it's a lot of fun. The atmosphere is amazing. Oh, I know, right? Some of Ryan's live streams. The karaoke was my favorite, by the way. Let's see. Enrico Nahashi, I actually thought of scratch building a head. Oh, for the paint pusher bust? Interesting. Let's see. William Willis, Bandai needs to get off this P Bandai kick. Feels like 2 out of every 3 model kit coming out is P Bandai. Yeah. Gary, wait, did Bluefin by Bandai? No, other way around. Like Sorvan said. Bandai owns Bluefin now. Yeah. Sorvan says, it's like Bandai America 2.0. Hopefully doesn't suffer the same fate as the original. Oh, I know, right? The original Bandai of America crashed and burned. You know, just a fiery mess. Gary says, oh, because I saw a kit that it doesn't have the yen currency. Sorvan says they stopped putting yen cost on the boxes a couple months ago. But I think, can't you still kind of decipher the yen cost based on the barcode? I don't know. I'm asking. Bailey says EMS gets handled with white cotton gloves. Yeah. Somehow to your door in 2 to 3 days still. Oh, EMS is great. If it's reasonably priced, you know. Gary Gunpla over there on Twitch says Bandai version 2 in the USA. I like that. Did not know that. Yeah. Wait and see, man. Like Sorvan said, hopefully they don't treat it like the original Bandai of America, because that was just handled terribly. Hopefully they've learned their lesson, but we'll see, right? Chris R. Magic, you pay enough. Bailey says you pay enough for that anyway. Yeah, true. Superset 5, all right, I'm out. Good night, everyone. Good night, Superset. Thank you for watching and being with us. Come back on Monday. Julie Stemsky, Tim, which shipping option do you use for Hobby Store? Oh, yeah, EMS as well. Gary, all the kits need a Verka. I agree with that. I'm down for that. Scuffle says, will a person be DQ'd in GBWC if they make an SD-esque Gundam out of a kid robot money? Probably because it's not originally a kit. You have to use a core kit to make your entry. So if you were to use a kid robot money, yeah, you'd probably get disqualified. Astria Kai, I see a post of the Sandrock being planned, Tim. Yeah, so we were talking about that a little bit earlier with the post from Gunpla Nerd, not to be confused with that other guy, Gunpla Nerd. So yes, we were talking about that. So yeah, it could be a thing. We don't know. Bailey says the lower proportions of the 1.5 is very different from the 1.0, which is more like the anime. The 2.0 and 3.0 are closer to the 1.0, whereas the 1.5 is more like the perfect grade. Whew, man, I don't know how I said that many numbers in that short of time. I don't know, but anyway, no, I get it. I totally get it. That's yeah, I can see that the 1.5 is definitely like the perfect grade now that you mention it. Yeah. Hapsite, kind of random, but it was 80 degrees in Georgia yesterday and just got a notice that snow will start in the next hour. What the fuck? Right? At least your toilet's not freezing like they had in Chicago. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When Chicago was going through its like super cold spell, there were photos on news outlets in Chicago of people's toilets, tank and everything, freezing solid, and then from the expanse of the ice, busting the toilet, and they're left with this ice mold of their tank. I was amazed. Yeah. And I'm sure you guys have probably seen the viral video of the girl going outside with wet hair, putting her hair down, and then sitting back up, and her hair is just sticking straight up because it froze, right? And then I think we got the news of the cat sickle from earlier today. A cat literally froze solid, but then as it thawed, it came back to life? I don't know. Maybe it cryogenically was frozen. Who knows? But yeah. Craziness. Just craziness. That's why I live in Maryland, man. We don't get extreme temperatures. We get cold, we get hot, but nothing like that. That's nuts. That's nuts. Bailey says, we just had a double-digit temp drop here in NC2. Yeah. Crazy. Astria Kai, I hope the Sandrock is getting a revive. Just hope he, Bandai, bleh, doesn't fuck us over for the people who grew up with Wing. Yeah. Gamerbud says, we had to have space heaters next to the washer and major pipes to keep them from freezing. That does not surprise me. Bailey says, I heard people had eyes freezing if they didn't blink enough. What? Bleh. Yeah. Logan C., I'm happy I lived in PA during that cold weather then, right? East Coast. Scuffle, I should have said SD-like instead of SD-esque. Oh, you capitalize esque. That's why I thought you were referring to some sort of mobile suit that I've never heard of before, right? Example of what I was talking about. Okay, cool. Let's see. Oh, that is kind of neat. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Scuffle. That's actually pretty damn cool. Interesting. Yeah, I kind of like that look, that aesthetic. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Enriquez Hasano Hashi, around 35C every day over here. I miss winter. That's warm, you guys. For those of you in the U.S., in Fahrenheit land, where we still use barbaric systems of measurement, 35°C is pretty fucking hot. GamerBud, we did have some pipes burst though. So yeah, that's terrible, man. Scuffle says, yeah, a hole near me had pipes burst, and I really needed to buy some carrots. Oh, like Whole Foods. Whole Foods. Got it. Security says today it's 38°C here. Blah, can't wait to escape the heat on Thursday when we go to Japan. Nice! Congratulations on that. That'll be awesome. I love Japan. Love Japan. Obviously, for good reason, right? So, yeah, let's see. What's the time check? Wow, it's 12:30 already? Screw it, let's go long. You want to? Let's do it. Let's go long. Cheers to going long. GamerBud says, just the other day it got up to 50 degrees and everything was melting, and it dropped back down to the low teens, and now everything here is an ice rink. Don't you love that? The other day here in Maryland, it was almost, and I don't want to make people jealous in the frozen wastelands. It was almost 70 here, which is crazy high for this time of year. We're usually in the 30s or 40s as for highs, right? And then it dips down into the teens and 20s at night sometimes, but usually it stays around the 30s. But yeah, so we were I think on Tuesday it was 69 degrees, so almost 70 degrees. And then right now I think it's like about 20 degrees. What are you gonna do? Winter in Maryland, man. They can turn on you in a dime, on a dime like that. So it is what it is. Security says first time seeing snow too. See, and you know, I can only imagine what that was like because I've grown up with snow, but that must be like a really cool experience, right? So that's awesome. That's awesome. Like seeing a natural wonder for the first time, like seeing the Grand Canyon or something, right? Just seeing this frozen water come from the sky, you know, that must be a cool experience. So that's awesome. That's awesome. Enrique Nohashi, best way to escape the heat to secure. Yeah, I agree. Skull says the feeling of cold is so relative. 50 degrees in summer is freezing, but 50 degrees in the winter feels like tank top weather. No, that you've got a very good point too, and I think it's regional too, because obviously for those of us on the East Coast that deal with winter and stuff like that, you know, 50 degrees, it's not bad. You know, you can get away with jeans and maybe a long sleeve shirt or something like that, right? But for like Southern California, 50 degrees is like, oh my God, let me get my winter parka and my gloves and my snow boots, right? So yeah, I agree with you. It's very relative. It's very relative at that point. Enrique Nohashi, awesome. Never seen snow. Wow, you guys. I really hope all you guys like down under and then, you know, like in South America and stuff get to experience that at least once. It's cool, right? Growing up with it and experiencing it all the time, it does lose its luster, but the first time, I can only imagine that's fucking magical. I really can. That's awesome. William One says, Sakuri, get Zaku's shopping guide for Gunpla. That thing was a time saver. Absolutely. No, I agree. So he's talking about Zach's shopping guide on USA Gundam Store. It's free. Or you can pay $5. Options. But no, I totally agree. It's such a good resource. When I went in 2016, I actually that was before his guide came out, and I actually used his videos to find places because they were really useful. So I'm sitting there in the middle of the street with my phone, you know, and I had a little like pocket Wi-Fi thing, so I'm watching his videos like, where do I go? Where do I go? Well, you know, trying to find landmarks and everything. So yeah, very useful. Very useful. Donnie Baxter over there on Facebook says Northern VA here, and it was 72. Yeah, so there you go. I mean, shit, you're basically right down the road from me, Donnie. I'm northeastern side of Maryland, so yeah, I mean, you're just a couple hours probably. Donnie says now it's 33. Go figure, right? Ultraman Dinah says I was just thinking about your White Dingo logo, Tim. Isn't the cross upside down? Yeah, it is, and that's actually the way it was designed, because the White Dingoes operated in Australia, down under. Symbology. So no, but that's actually a good observation. Sakuri says I'm going with some Gunpla buddies, one of which did a year's exchange, so we have an advantage. Nice, that's pretty cool. Astray Kai, it snowed in San Antonio last year though. Really? Snow in Texas? That's kind of crazy. Hasaki Art, Hendren says going long while filling the hell out of old Gunpla hands. There we go. Nice. Gary says, Gary Gunpla over on Twitch says, haha, it's 30 here in SoCal where I live and I'm freezing. Really? It's 30 in SoCal? Shit. That's crazy. Scuffle says, nothing beats putting a rock inside of a snowball. Snow is the bestest. Hey, guys, don't listen to Scuffle. That's so mean. Let's see. Bailey says the comic featuring the White Dingo team Rise from the Ashes is being released right now. Sweet. There you go. Or the manga. Comic, manga. Yeah, whatever. We all get it. We all get it. But yeah, no, if you were to look at the White Dingo logo, yeah, the reversed, the upside down EF cross is, yeah, that's the way it was designed. So, that's the way it is on the hat, too. Ha 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 ha. Whoop whoop. Alright, so, since we're going long, we're going to work a little bit more. And we're caught up with the chat. For right now, so let's trim this piece back. We gave it a little bit more time to cook, a little bit more time to cure on this piece, so it should be good to go. I'm gonna grab my little NT cutter blade here because I kind of like that. I like the sharpness of this blade. We're gonna start with the sides because they're all flat, and this is a 90-degree trim, so this is actually real easy. You just basically use the surface of the original piece as your guide, and you just let that blade just kind of glide across the surface while trimming the plastic. Sometimes when it gets bogged down, you might have to switch up angles. Just kind of go in from the other side. Ooh! Cosmo Jupiter, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Thank you for watching too, and welcome to the family. That's awesome. That's awesome. Alright, so again, we just let the blade kind of ride across the surface here. And now, obviously, we're gonna need to come back and sand this this edge, you know, to get it perfectly flush. But for the most part, yeah, that's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Cosmo Jupiter over there on Twitch says, I like Gunpla. I'm trying to get into it, but I'm broke. Broke as fuck right now. He says, but it's always good to watch. Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right. Let's see. Bailey says, I love that game so much. Oh, with the White Dingo team, yeah. Gary over there on Twitch says, high desert near the famous Mount Baldy, and it's covered with snow. Ah, that's why it's a mountain. Okay. Still, it's probably kind of rare, but Yeah, it's a mountain. Bailey says, can't go long. I'm going to head to bed soon, collecting data tomorrow for my dissertation. I'll just lay down a few more water slides and I'm out for the night. Cool deal, B. No problem at all, man. Thank you for your assistance, as always. Security Ground Zero is amazing. I love seeing Australian locations. Nice. Hisaki Art Rise from the Ashes. One of the best Gundam games, in my opinion. Never played it. Scuffle says, I want that SD hummingbird drawing on a shirt, towel, wristband, do-rag, jacket, and a key ring. I can do shirt. Everything else I don't know about there, Scuffle. Billy says, I wish we got more Gundam games in that mech warrior style, right? Hisaki Art agreed, Billy, that FPV was awesome. William Williams, what we need to do is Photoshop Tim's SD Hummingbird over normal things and then post them to his Twitter and Instagram accounts, and every Friday on the stream he can tell us his favorite pick. Go for it, man. Go for it. Scuffle says, LOL, that'd be awesome. Go for Instagram, though, because Twitter and me just are not, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Twitter. I know some of you guys are. I know William is definitely a fan of Twitter, but I don't know, man. I just something about Twitter I just can't get down with. The whole structure of it is it seems weird to me. This blade is not sharp enough to do the trick, so we're going to switch back to the NT cutter blade and we're going to go from there. Yeah, much better. Now with this here, you guys can see we were trimming 1 millimeter, right? This profile being 1 millimeter. Now, if you look at this being at an angle, the profile is much wider now. That's more like a 1.5 millimeters. So we've got more meat to cut through with this blade, right? So we need to be a little bit more careful with this and kind of take our time and try not to trim it all at the same time, right? We use just kind of a nice kind of slicing motion like that, and then we kind of circle back and then start to trim, and you can see that kind of little pigtail ribbon of plastic start to come up, and that's exactly what we want. Now mind you, we'll still have to come back, sand all of this nice and flush and flat, but for the most part this is the best way that I know of to trim up, you know, a plastic sheet or strip or whatever with the surface that you've glued it down to. You can see just these little ribbons of plastic starting to come off in different places. Basically, it means that it's still a high point there, and that needs to be trimmed down. Okay, so that surface looks pretty good. Yeah, I like it. Excuse me. Beanie Hummingbird, Tim, Gary says. Hey, dude, if you seriously, well, the Chibi Hummingbird would never be able to be digitized. I'm gonna tell you that right now, because it's way too complex of a design to be put on a hat. And then the Grim Reaper logo is also, unfortunately, a little too complex, because the type, when it's shrunk down to a size that would fit on a hat, would unfortunately be too small to actually embroider. So it's a tough balance of things, you know. So it probably won't happen, unfortunately. Hisaki Art says, The White Dingo team, White Dingo came from that game. Was released on Sega Dreamcast. Yeah, no, I actually had that game. I just didn't play it a lot. So yeah. Corbin Den over there on Twitch, he says, hello, what's going on? Scuffle, don't get too famous on Twitter or else the SJWs will bully you for not representing their denomination and pushing their agenda. I don't know about all that. But again, guys, cardinal rule, politics, leave it at the door. One of the two cardinal rules. Yeah, Bailey, thank you. Keep it non-political. Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep it non-political. For those of you that are newer, the two cardinal rules: no religion, no politics. Everything else we can get down with if it's decent, right? If it's decent. But those two are nah. Corbin Den over there on Twitch, he says, not much, just messing around with my new airbrush. Nice. Fun. Corbin Den, does that include Xeon politics? Since it's fictional, no. We can talk politics in the anime, but not as it relates to real world. So it just gets messy, you guys, because everybody's got their own opinion, right? We leave that shit at the door. We're all fans of Gunpla. It's simple, right? We're all here for the same reason. So that stuff, yeah. So, Scuffle, don't worry about it. He says, LOL, won't let me delete. That's fine. Just keep it in mind for next time. Let's see. Enrico Asunahashi, just things that happen in the community in general. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? Corbin Den, Sig Xeon, nice. Chris R, you missed the third rule, Tim. No talking about who must not be named something nerd. Yeah, well. There's no, I will say this. There's no rule about that. I just choose not to talk about him because he's not worth my fucking time. So there we go. Anyway, but I digress. We come back. Bailey says, Gundam politics and real-world circumstances it was directly taken from are by nature inseparable. To a point. To a point. But, you know, for the most part, it is different. You know, it is different. But no, I will grant you that there are some cases. Some. Yeah. What are you going to do? But Gary Gunpla says, haha, it's the other guy, guys. News is Gunpla nerd. Yeah. There's two, which is unfortunate for Gunpla nerd. But yeah. Chris R. Well said. Yeah. GamerBud, who? Nice. Scuffle says, although they were trying to make a political statement with Reco G, which nobody related to because we want robot fight now. Yeah, right? Exactly. Fight, robots, fight! For our entertainment. Like Robot Jocks. Y'all remember Robot Jocks, right? If y'all don't remember Robot Jocks, man, you guys didn't grow up. You guys didn't grow up in the late '80s. Robot Jocks was the shit back in the day. Now, one thing that I absolutely have to suggest, guys, when you're trimming pieces like this, that you use a sharp blade. Doesn't have to necessarily be fresh out of the package, but make sure it's sharp and not dull. That's why I started to try with the chisel blade here, but then it just didn't cut the way I wanted it to, and it was dull. Well, dull enough. But the reason why I say that is because if it's dull and you're having to really put pressure to get the blade through the plastic, then there are chances of that, like it just happened there, of the plastic breaking off and that blade going into your meaty flesh. So if you use a nice sharp blade, that has a tendency to be a much smoother cut, and you have a little bit more control over it. But in any situation, no matter whether it's a dull blade or a sharp blade, you absolutely have to use control. So there you go. All right, so now we'll go back. We'll just do kind of our finish pass here, because we've got this surface nice and almost flush at this point. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Chris R. Long story, bud. Yeah, no. Long and gory story, trust me. Scuffle, although they were trying to... Oh, we already read that. We want robot fight now. Yeah. Gamerbud, oh him. Yeah, not a fan. Yeah, fuck. Who knows who is, right? Gorman Den, hey, what's the airbrush you use, Mecha? I picked up a Badger Chrome for detail work, and I'm liking it. Good question. I use an Iwata Eclipse siphon feed. I am one of the few that still that use, I shouldn't say still, because there are plenty of people that use siphon feeds, but I am one of the rare modelers in Gunpla that actually use a siphon feed. And I just like that system so much more, because I can swap colors at the drop of a dime. It's easy to clean, it's easy to maintain, and yeah, just for my style of painting, it's just a better system for me. Now, there are pros and cons to both, right? The pro of a gravity feed is that you can use much lower pressure and get a much smoother gradient at that point. You can do other kind of cool effects and stuff that it's much harder to do with a siphon feed, right? But with my style of painting, where I don't do a lot of that fancy stuff, the siphon feed is absolutely perfect for me. And even if I wanted to do fancy stuff, I could do that with other tools and resources and materials. Like if I wanted to get like a pre-shading type of look, I could achieve that in part with Tamiya weathering powders and stuff. It's not that hard to do to get that kind of simulated look. But there are definitely pros and cons. I have a gravity feed. I just don't use it a lot. I only use it for certain circumstances where I need it. But for the most part, yeah, I like my siphon feed, and it just works for me. It may not work for everybody, but that's what I use, an Iwata Eclipse. So Iwata is just an amazing company and quality of their tools. Highly recommended. So I have an Iwata Eclipse and an Iwata Neo for my gravity feed. So now we're just basically trimming back these bevels here. We're going to have to do that on all 4 sides. And then what we'll have to do is we'll have to come back and bevel this edge here, because that's square from the styrene sheet. We're going to have to do that and match up the bevel based on the corresponding surfaces. So there we go. That looks good. That looks good. All right. Let's see. Gamer button. I'll leave it at that. Good call. Bailey says, like in cooking, dull knives cause most accidents. Yeah, exactly. Scuffle, did they ever make a Gundam version of Rock'em Sock'em robots? I don't think so. Maybe in Japan. I don't know. I'd be too scared to chip the paint if they did. Yeah, right. Haha, you mean using Gunpla? Yeah, LOL. Scuffle. Chris R says, I love my siphon. Makes cleanup easy. There you go, man. Birds of a feather, right? Max, I use a bottom feed mostly for priming. Yeah, and it's good. You know, it's a good all-around for when you're working with, you know, bigger coating or bigger painting tasks like priming, right? It's good for that because you have your options in bottles. You know, I have modified different caps over the years to basically be fast caps for different sizes of paint jars. So I have, you know, the Badger, you know, normal paint jars that work amazingly well. I have several blast caps for that. I bought a set of Master paint jars that have the metal blast caps, and those work great. I really like those. And then I've also modified some other caps to work with Mr. Color jars, and then also Tamiya jars, and then also the old school big Tamiya jars. I actually modified one of those caps to be a blast cap for that. So yeah, the cleanup just is so easy. So easy. Scuffle says, wrong, letting my wife cook causes the most accidents. Nice. Oh, man. Chris R, yep. Ultraman Dino, Chris R, use siphon feed. Yep, I have both. I have a siphon Pash and a gravity eclipse. There you go. Ultraman Dyna, I have a gravity eclipse. Nice. Gorman Den, thank you for the insight. You're welcome, man. Anytime. Enrica Asunohashi, mine's a gravity Neo. See, yeah, I have the same one. Bailey, my first airbrush, which I still have, is an Iwata HPC, but currently I use an Ammo Air Cobra, which is a Badger, and an Iwata Neo Gravity. So yeah, the Iwata Neo really popular, and it's popular for a reason. It's just solid, and it's a good entry level gravity feed. Bailey says, but I'm thinking of getting a Siphon Neo 2 just for priming. You might like it, man. Gary Gunpla over there on Twitch says, I use a Procon Boy WA double action 0.3mm from Mr. Hobby. Those look interesting. I have to admit, those look interesting. And now that you can get them easily from like Spray Gunner here in the US, that kind of piques my interest even more at that point, right? So, never know. Scuffle, I still have my Vega 2000 airbrush I bought back in the early 90s. Had to stop using it because I still don't have a painting booth, and my wife gets concerned when I have rainbow colored boogers. You know, that happens. That happens, man. Ultraman Dino, I've been eyeing the Mr. Hobby Procon Boy also. Yeah, it's an interesting prospect. Gary says, yep, I got mine from Spray Gunner. Yeah. Who knows? I might have to pull the trigger on that one of these days. If one of the other ones kind of, you know, goes to shit. Yeah, and okay, so here's a very, very good point Bailey makes. Can you get parts for it though? And that is always the biggest question mark when it comes to airbrushes. Is that, can you get parts for it? It's just like a car, because parts break down at different intervals, right? So like for my Iwata Eclipse siphon feed, everything in it is original except for the needle and nozzle, because those break down much faster than the other parts do, right? Because that's where the magic happens, so to speak. So yeah, I mean that's a huge question mark. But I think Spray Gunner, I think you can get parts from Spray Gunner. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But again, it's a very, very good point. With Iwata, you can get parts all over the place. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them at, local art stores and things like that. Michaels even sells different little parts and stuff like that for Iwata airbrushes that I've seen in Badger and stuff like that. In some stores, not all of them. But yeah, I mean, so it's a very, very big question. Very big question. Yeah. Let's see. Julie Stemsky, my first was, which I still have and use, is a Pash V1. Nice. Ultimate Dyna, that is my concern. Yep, because that's the thing. Easy access to replacement parts, Bailey says. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Let's see. Gary Gunpla, I'm loving it. Nice. Yeah, that 0.3 millimeter nozzle is, I'm sure you can get super, super tight lines on that. And probably good shading too. Scubble says, in the same as the GBWC build, can Tim get enough parts for it? 20 kits might not be enough. It's not 20 kits, man. It's more like 15 or 18 or something like that. But I don't know. I'm not keeping track. I'll let you guys do that. Bailey says perhaps they are interchangeable with another brand. The sum of Tamiya airbrushes, I think, is rebanded from Sparmax. Nice. HR148, my local Hobby Lobby, has Iwata airbrushes. Yeah, they're readily available here in the States. Gary Gunpla over on Twitch, he says, and I use my Neo Iwata for priming. There you go. Max on YouTube, Sharpen Air for needle care. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me. Do you guys bend your needles all that often? I don't. I can safely say I've never bent a needle before. So I don't know. Maybe for sharpening a needle, but you could do that with some fine grit sandpaper though too. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Corbin Den, my face when you find out your Mechanicore kit has the build instructions on a DVD. Yeah, right? Oh, man. Corbin Den, I've never bent a needle. Yeah, I mean, I never have either. Ultraman Diana, he said Tamiya, haha. Yeah, I know. Well, I wasn't even thinking and read it phonetically, so... Sorban Zero, never bent the tip at least. Yeah. Whoa, kicking shit over here. Gary Gunpla, LOI, bent my nozzle on my Neo before. Yeah, I think nozzles are a little bit easier to damage at that point. Like when I had to replace the needle and nozzle on the Iwata, what happened is that the nozzle basically bell-ended out, just from over a decade of the needle jamming back and forth in it, right? So it flared out, it bell-ended. So yeah, I had to replace that, and then when you replace a nozzle, you might as well replace the needle too. So I did that, and so I can understand that. Bailey, I haven't recently, so haven't had the need. Yeah. Ah, okay. So Max makes a good point then. Okay, that makes sense, Max. That makes sense then. And hold on, we'll get to that in just a second. Scuffle says, be careful of threading to G1/4 US fitting is not the same threading as G1/4 EU fitting. Yeah. But back to Max, he says, haha, I do since I take the protective part off when using an airbrush so you can get tighter in. That makes sense. That makes sense. So yeah, I can understand you. Yeah, much higher chance of bending a needle tip at that point when you don't use the, you know, the guard and everything. So I get that. I totally get that. Chris R says USA Gundam Sword just got back in stock. The book Scratch Build Revolution. That's not been in stock for a while, you guys. Head over and get it. Enrique Asanohashi, I bent like 3 needles before. Damn, dude. Max says there's a PDF version of that Mechanicore Kasai, C, whatever. Enrique Asanohashi, always very slightly, but still. No, I get it. Ultraman Dyna, I bought that book. It's pretty nice. Yeah, Scratch Build Revolution is a good book. Bailey Belland, any British watchers here? He said a naughty word. I know, right? Simon, who's on Gunpla Talk with us, yeah, we go back and forth. He's just like, you're such a bellend, and I'm just like, I love that term. I don't know why. Enrique Asanohashi thought the same thing. Yeah, bellend. Oh yeah, the British. I love the British people, man. Some of my favorite people. They rank right up there with the Japanese and the Australians as my favorite world people. I do love those people. I love the properness of British people, right? Because they could chew your ass out and still be completely proper and friendly, you know, and courteous, right? Oh, I say there, chap, you're not doing a wise action there, eh? Like, what are you, fucking stupid? You know, but still make it sound so nice and so courteous, right? Like, it's heartwarming, right? What are you gonna do? Anyway, let's do one of these. Try to match these bevels here on this piece. Now I'm just starting by scraping this first, right? We're gonna go back and kind of fine tune this a little bit more here in just a second. But we get it. I want to knock down that corner to make it easier to start to fine tune it. So now that we've got that corner knocked off, now I'm going to go in with my needle file here and just kind of start working that and getting that flat and crisp, so I don't look like a bell end. Nice. Scuffle says, are you ever going to have any guests like Justin, Simon, Glenn, Zach, etc. on any of your regular streams? You know, and that's a good question. That was kind of, and I think Scuffle, I don't know, did you come in late? I think so. So you kind of missed the beginning kind of snafu a little bit where the music was doubled up for some strange reason. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. If that happens, I don't know what we'll do, but yeah, the music was doubled up, and that I think was part and parcel to messing around with integrating Skype conversations into the stream. So to answer your question shortly, yes, I've thought about it. So, oh yeah, just talking about NDI. Yeah. That's the main reason, was to integrate the Skype feeds and stuff like that, just to add another dimension, to the stream. Maybe having guests, maybe people calling in, asking questions, maybe for like a live Q&A type of thing. I don't know. These are just things that I'm just kind of throwing out and playing with at this point. So definitely an option. Definitely an option. All right. So let's use the good old metal protractor, we're going to find the angle of this bevel. And that looks like it's 45 degrees. Well, let's see. That's 50 degrees. Let's move it back to 45 and see. Yeah, 45. Boom. Cool. All right, so that matches up at that 45 really well. So we're going to keep that. You just kind of have to work it down to match the overall thickness of this bevel. But I think we got it. I think we got it. Now we just sand up the two bevel points there. Just like that. And now, whoop, be good if I was on camera. And now that is nice and flush and even and looking pretty good. So there we go. Good deal. Done. All right, you guys. 1:12 in the morning here. I'm going to call it a night. Let's go back to camera 1. Chris R says, man, it is quiet on the Facebook side. Yeah. Facebook and Twitch are both kind of quiet, but Facebook is probably the most quiet of all of the platforms. But oddly enough, people come back and watch it a lot on Facebook, which is cool, right? Sandy Lee, yup. Welcome, Sandy. Thank you for watching. Donnie Baxter's still over there, building and watching. Nice, thank you, Donnie. Corbin Den just finished making the LED beam sabers, and good night. Sweet. Good job. Good job. So, all right, guys. I'm going to call it a week. Man, good week. Good week. Thank you for being a part of it. If you guys want to pick up one of these cool shirts or one of these awesome hats, they'll be... I'm going to try to get them up tomorrow. But again, watch the social medias. I'll blast out a thing about it. And yeah. So go hit up childofmecha.com. Hit the store up at the top. You'll find the shirts, hats, bags, everything up there in that link. If you want to get any of the tools that we worked with here tonight, hit up the Amazon link just below on YouTube and Twitch. That side if you're watching on Facebook. And if you need kits or paints or other accessories, these guys right down here, USA Gundam Store. I partnered with them on the GBWC 2019 build. Great bunch of guys. They're running a 15% off sale on everything, in and out of stock items right now, and 20% off of certain perfect grades, I think, right now too. So go check them out. Go support those guys, because those guys are great. So wouldn't be able to do this particular project if it wasn't for USA Gundam Store. So I'm very grateful for Adam and the guys. But aside from that, guys, man, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay warm if you're in a cold spot. Stay cool if you're in a hot spot. And build something cool. All right? We'll be back here on Monday. And I'll see you then. Take care, guys. Bye.